Hello everyone and welcome to Spoiler Warning featuring myself, Tom Colohue. There is some big news to cover today and quite a lot of it, 20 different talking points that I will be covering. Firstly, as regards the potential retirement of the WWE Championship, there is a lot to cover there, all of which is very nuanced, so we'll get into it quite a bit. The rebranding of the Women's Championships, we've been talking about that for a few weeks as well. The Tag Team Championships and whether or not they will be staying or whether we'll have something new there. The Drew McIntyre return and what they might look like. Randy Orton update. Big E, Liv Morgan /Daddy/Young Saliva, for those who haven't already seen her on YouTube and her work for Up, Up, Down, Down. I got a bit to discuss as regards videos that are coming to the channel. We have Cody Rhodes, his position on the card going forwards, a confirmation of what I've already reported, but quite a bit of confirmation to cover. LA Knight and his chances for Money in the Bank. Forbidden Door and a match that's just been announced for that at the weekend that may get a few people very, very hyped. The rebuild of Bullet Club that's currently active. Still on that topic, CM Punk and an incoming feud against Jay White. A special stream in the incoming summer called Summer Stream. You guys have been asking for it, and it's a-coming. The Twitch return for the WWE, something that's been in the workings for a long time now, but it's finally gone official. The confirmation of my report that's already out there from Wrestling Observer that Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar will be taking place at SummerSlam and Cody Rhodes will not be challenging Roman Reigns. The imaginary Becky rumours that have been circulating according to Daily DDT, which I'm yet to see any evidence of whatsoever. Smackdown and its current position on the overall card of pro wrestling, how it's trending up in pretty much every possible way. A little bit on how wrestling, how Twitter, how social media is changing in every possible way, because I'm calling it Feed the Trolls. A little bit on 2.7 million viewers for Roman Reigns, and a little bit of pushing for people who work with me and who help me out here and who deserve a little bit of positive attention. So that's a lot, guys. That's a lot. It took me 2 minutes to basically get through all of those headlines. We will, as always, be covering as many of your questions as we can. So please do remember to hit like as we get started. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will try and say hi to everyone as we can. So let's do that at this point. Welcome Joe, welcome Dark Society, Mick, Venom, Eric, Daz, Ed, Daniela, James, Richard, Peter, Ken, Callie, KJ, Leon, Stuart, Dom and Thomas, as well on the Twitch side, Spider Boss, Bailey, Moxie as well, and Michael Latino. Welcome everyone. Let's start by jumping in because this one certainly got, hello Jordan, certainly got a lot of attention in the announcement tweet. If you'd like to help me grow and help make this particular show grow, I have pinned a comment at the top of the YouTube which basically goes direct to my Twitter announcement of this show from a couple of hours ago. There's got some serious attention and some serious trolls. The talk, of course, came from Wrestling Observer that the WWE Championship would be retired to make way for the Undisputed Universal Championship that Triple H debuted on Smackdown. Now I'm going to be real clear here and very, very distinct about everything, pardon me, I'm going to be saying here. I've been very careful to address the wording based on the sources that I have. There will be a temporary retirement of the record of the WWE Championship. The championship presented by Triple H is an undisputed Universal Championship. The reason it's referred to as an undisputed Universal Championship is because for the length of Roman Reigns' reign, it will be following the record of the Universal Championship. This is the way in which they've laid out that they will not be dropping the 1,000-day reign. The record-setting reign, the 1,000 days, is the Universal Championship, not the WWE Championship. The WWE Championship reign of Roman Reigns is not even close to 1,000 days. As such, they are using the record set by the Universal Championship, and at least for the Roman Reigns experience, it will be the Universal Undisputed Championship. The reason they're calling it Undisputed is because it does factor in both the WWE and the Universal Championship. It is one belt to represent both of the titles that Roman carries. We cannot say in any distinction that the WWE Championship has or has not been retired, because it will be temporarily retired in order to serve the record of the Universal Championship. Once Roman Reigns is no longer champion, the Undisputed Championship will revert to being the record for the WWE Championship, and the Universal Championship will quietly stop being mentioned. I hope that made it nice and clear as to where we are right now for this. Essentially, as I've said, the WWE Championship is being temporarily frozen out so that they can follow the record of the Universal Championship. Once that record ends, it will become the record-setting Universal reign, but it will be a WWE Championship. The reason it is still called Undisputed is because what happened is it is representing two championships. In reality, if we break it down, this championship belt is not undisputed because Seth Rollins is on the other show as the World Heavyweight Championship. There are two World Championships in the WWE. In reality, there are three, but one of them represents two belts. Okay, now I hope that clears it up. Essentially, this championship change was made for the next champion in mind. The next champion. Personally, Wiggly, I do not count NXT, and neither do the WWE. So that is the situation for the WWE Championship. FDR, it is a unification of the title, but it is a unification in which the Universal Championship remains until the championship goes to a different champion, at which point they will swap the lineage. Okay, it's not easy, this, is it? They have not done a fantastic job of making this one nice and simple. If anything, it's not even close to simple. Not close to simple at all. But that is our first piece of news. Hogan says if the WWE Championship is to be temporarily retired, when would that take place? Per WWE's website, both the WWE and Universal titles are still independently active. Both of the championships are still independently active, but the undisputed Universal Championship, as Triple H has lined it up, is only following the lineage of the Universal Championship, and as such, they can say it's a 1,000-day plus reign. Once the championship moves to a different person, they will swap, and it will follow the lineage of the WWE Championship. One championship represents both titles, both of them still exist, it's just been quietly... They're quietly not mentioning it. It's been quietly retired, rather than vocally and obviously retired. There's a lot going on. Ooh. Second up, we're going to talk about the rebrand of the Women's Championships that is incoming. At current, the SmackDown Women's Championship is on Raw. The Raw Women's Championship is on SmackDown. They are trying to avoid having a championship handover, largely because of the issues previously between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair that were sort of launched into the stratosphere by a championship handover. There are no plans, to my knowledge, for a championship handover at this point in time. From what I can tell, the plan is to have a rebrand of both championships, make them different in the same way that they've relaunched the World Heavyweight and the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. They are having rebrands rather than firm relaunches. Triple H, from what I can tell, is making a whole load of new championships at this point in time. Just a whole load of new championships. Moxie, the reason WWE didn't have Sami beat Roman is because they did not want Sami to beat Roman. There was a different storyline and a different story being told. Venom says WrestleMania is saying Roman and Solo could fight the Usos at Money in the Bank. They could. That doesn't mean they will. Everything is on the table. No, Wiggly, Goldberg is not still with WWE. I've said that a lot, mate. A lot. He's not in the company at all. Hogan says, by the way, the official title is Undisputed WWE Universal title, which was titled as such to combine the names of the WWE and Universal titles. Absolutely correct. I did find it very funny that if you see the trolls Go check it out. It's quite fun. If you see the trolls on my announcement tweet trying desperately to tell me that the Universal Championship is gone forever when it's clearly not. And I don't understand what they think they're going for there. Richard, I do not know what names the new women's titles are going to be. The names have not been finalised because ultimately the decision has not been finalised. Until the moment when a new championship is out there, it will not be finalised. Horsey, absolutely right. This is a way to quietly take the Universal title back out of play, but it will only happen after Roman's record-setting reign has ended. Third up, Tag Team Championships. The WWE, particularly Triple H, is planning a separation in some manner of the Tag Team Championships. The question is, are they going to turn the Undisputed Championships into one belt and create a brand new one, or are they going to separate the championships? There is talk of both, though brand new championships are starting to gain some steam. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are the current tag team champions, but Triple H is planning a relaunch of the tag division that is currently ongoing, and we are seeing more tag teams brought to prominence, including from SmackDown, the OC, the Street Profits, the Brawling Brutes, Pretty Deadly, etc. He wants a relaunch of the tag division, and in order to do that, he needs tag team championships, so we will be seeing tag team championships one set on either side sooner rather than later. Khalid, no update on Bray Wyatt. No Dark Society. I don't think Cody will take on Roman at WrestleMania 40. I've spoken about Solo, and I definitely think that's possible. Justin says, is it true Roman is upset with WWE about the new belt design? No. McWall says, Roman over Undertaker. Well, one of them's still going. Eric, no, you have not missed the Liv Morgan news. And Devon says, any update on Mercedes money? Nope, no update on Mercedes at this point in time. I have more than 20 conversation topics, but I know quite a lot of people will have vanished because I just said I don't have anything on Mercedes. FDR says the tag championships desperately need a new redesign, so it's a long time coming. Venom says, tell me we're going to see Lashley, Johnny on Raw tonight. I can't say that because I don't have the script. And Michael says, any Lashley news? Not at this point. From what I can tell, he's taken a few weeks off. He will be back in time for SummerSlam. They don't have anything big planned for him right now. Richard says, what's my opinion of the new design? I'm not the biggest fan. I'm a little disappointed. I just think they could have done a lot better. Lucha Libre, friend says, I'm rewinding. Memes says, how you doing, friend? I'm rewinding to the beginning, but wanted to say thank you for your work. Thank you very much, Lucha Libre. I appreciate that. Welcome. And anyone who is here and lurking or watching back from the start, thank you kindly. Welcome. Thank you as well to FDR for renewing for a 7th month of channel membership. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Callie, also a channel member for 3 months, a renewed subscription there as well. Thank you to both of you. Thank you, Callie, for renewing your subscription also. Moxley wants Roman versus Bobby. So do I. And Spider-Boss says, could we see Rhea Ripley wrestle more often on TV? You ask this all the time, and I answer you all the time. Wiggly says, Tom, do you own any belts? Nope. Next up, Drew McIntyre. I know there's a lot of attention around my incoming and impending report on Drew McIntyre here. Certainly a lot of people are really getting a lot of attention on it. Let me talk about Drew McIntyre. There are currently still ongoing negotiations about Drew McIntyre's impending return. Drew McIntyre's contract runs until April next year. So for the next 10 months, he's either going to be, if he's leaving, wrestling to put over others, or if he's staying, wrestling to rebuild himself. I've spoken previously about active negotiations ongoing to basically try and get it over the line that there will be more championship opportunities for Drew McIntyre. This is being confirmed since by the Wrestling Observer, stating that Drew McIntyre is looking for a push and championships rather than particularly money, and that is very much the case. It is not a financial situation. PWInsider have reported that Drew McIntyre has confirmed and gotten his American citizenship, suggesting that he'll be staying in America either way, and certainly throwing a lot of fire onto the idea and the speculation that he'll be going to AEW. Drew McIntyre is at least in the WWE for the next 10 months. He has been given some time off after WrestleMania to basically rest up, because my word, that man has worked hard and he's worked injured for a long time. Creative plans suggest that one of the options on the table is a match between Drew McIntyre and Gunter one-on-one for SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre versus Gunter one-on-one for SummerSlam. That is one of the suggestions for a creative storyline, and one of the reasons they paused the idea of Drew versus Gunter one-on-one for WrestleMania and added Sheamus to the match instead. Thank you very much, Horsey. A very generous donation, says, breathe, Tom, after that. Thank you, Horsey. There is a lot to cover. We've only got through a fifth of our reports so far, so there is quite a lot still to cover. I will answer questions as and when I can. Please keep them coming. Hello, Eve. Thank you very much for the evening. I also see what you did there. I was glad. I like that. I like that. I do dad jokes. I do serious dad jokes. It's such good stuff. Such good stuff. Also, I did see, Eve, you putting a tweet out there that Mercedes Martinez was back to Eve, and I'm very, very excited for that. Very excited for that. Spiderball says, any update on Andrade? Nope, only what's out there from Fightful. Joey says, I could see Drew facing Seth at SummerSlam, also a possibility. That does mean a championship opportunity. Daniela says, any news on Edge's disappearance from TV? It was planned. The actual triple threat match was not what we were expecting. He wasn't originally supposed to be coming back at that point, but he was able to come back to basically add some extra name power to that particular section. Noob says, hey. Hey, Noob. Oof. Wow. Dark Society says, hey, Tom, you should bring back Q&A. If you don't want to, it's fine. I'll think about it, certainly when things get a bit busier. But at the moment, I'm just staying chill and trying to do as much as I can. Joey says, when do you expect these new women's titles to be introduced? I expect the rebrand to be happening within the next few weeks. And Spider-Boss is excited by the idea of Drew versus Gunter. Venom, you know the answer. Don't be rude to my mods. Certainly not to Ed, who knows the answer and has told you it several times. Randy Orton. Just a brief update. Oh, actually, sorry, before we do that, Megan, sorry, it was about 2 minutes ago, I was still in a thing. Megan, thank you very kindly for raiding and joining us here. Thank you very much for bringing people over and showing them what we're all about. For those interested, Megan was streaming Civilizations. So if you're a fan of Civ, by all means check out Megan's work. Also, if you're a fan of Marvel Snap, we have our very own Ed Fries on Twitch, whose work you may enjoy. He has just reached 50 followers on Twitch. Every little does help to keep him over the line and get him to affiliate status. Ed, please do post a link to your work and, of course, to Megan's as well. Randy Orton. This is a bit of a recap of previous information. Randy Orton is going to be returning to the WWE, or so he intends. He has been pushing hard to get himself fit and firing as fast as he can. The idea that this will be a career-ending injury is apparently not something that Randy Orton himself agreed with. He has been seen at the Performance Center, and it looks like he's offering coaching and help and assistance to the new generation. Creative plans that are written up at the moment suggest a return to RK Bro, which would in many ways protect Randy Orton from having to work too hard going forwards. He would be returning as a face. I do not have any sort of time for this, but I did report previously as regards Randy Orton that he would be not at WrestleMania, even though people were going to be talking about it, which is what happened. He's more likely to be returning near the end of the year. Near the end of the year is when we're more likely to see Randy Orton. He is not cleared. He is not 100%. They are starting to make creative plans, and he has been seen on WWE properties. Oof. Randy Orton. I would agree, Peter. I think most of the chat know the answer. Thomas says, who do you see dethroning Theory? Personally think it will be AJ. I personally think it will be AJ. Daniela says, any updates on Tommaso Ciampa? To my knowledge, he is being cleared. Beyond that, I have absolutely no idea, unfortunately. Hector says, Tom, do you have any idea if WWE still has any interest whatsoever in Matt Cardona? I've never been able to get any confirmation that there ever was any interest. So unfortunately, when it comes to this one, I simply cannot report anything. Sean says, congrats to Emma and Riddick on their engagement. Congratulations indeed. Vegeta blames Vince for pretty much everything. Eve says, Mercedes really wants to work, man. She was a regular Eve roster member in 2019. I'm excited to have her back as she's the perfect person for any locker room. I've only ever heard good things, particularly as regards leadership and motivation about Mercedes Martinez. I have nothing but praise for her work and what she's been able to produce. So I'm excited to see her back in the Eve ring. Venom says, when will Breaker be called up? When they want to. Thomas says, any news on offers of Pain? Nope, only what I initially reported and what was confirmed by Fightful Select, I think 5 or 6 months later. Megan says, I kind of love Orton to get an Owen-style pop at War Games, if he can, but him spending time coaching the PC is going to be a great boost to them. And Hogan says, quite accurately, might be something, might be nothing. I try and make it as transparent as possible. If I've got a bit and not too much, I will say what I know and only what I know. Beyond that, it is difficult to be able to say with any sort of confirmation, oh, Randy Orton's coming back. But I have reported as much as I possibly can in a way that isn't putting pressure on him. You know? There are advantages to being quite small time sometimes. If, for example, Dave Meltzer says, Randy Orton's coming back, I feel that's putting pressure on because Dave Meltzer's a big name. Miss T says, hi Tom, with Bianca losing the Asuka rematch and Io versus Asuka being the next big women's feud on Smackdown, who do you think will be next for Bianca? Personally, I would love it if she can have a bit of a break. Just a bit of a break. I think she's earned it and I think she deserves it. She's been carrying that card, carrying that championship for a long time and is fully deserving of a rest at this point. Gotcha, Hogan. Gotcha. Daniela says, how do you think the Money in the Bank men's ladder match is shaping up so far? Okay, there be flippy people. And Bailey says, was there any reaction to yet another Lacey Evans return last week? Is a push planned? Nope and nope. She was there to do the job. As we know, she did the job. They are still trying to work out a storyline and a creative for her, but there is pushback from a whole lot of people, and unfortunately it's getting kind of hard to push through at this point in time. It's just very difficult for Lacey Evans right now. Creative just don't seem to be able to work out anything that will stick, and they're not willing to commit long enough for it to start to stick. In the hot seat says, do you think they'll do Asuka versus Io Sky for the Raw Women's title this summer? Quite possibly, yes. I did speak a lot more on that on Friday. Dark Society says, who have you got winning Money in the Bank? I'd love it to be Dominic. Originally, I did have Damian Priest. Big E. I've spoken some length about Big E and his return schedule, and to be blunt, at the moment, as I've said, there isn't one. There is no creative plan for Big E. There is no pressure for Big E. However, Big E continues to undergo physiotherapy and undergo scans, and from what I can tell, he's in a much better place physically than he was. He's been appearing quite a bit on Up, Up, Down, Down. He's been mobile. He's been moving around. And from all reports backstage, he's been happy. Now, this isn't a huge report. This isn't a massive scoop or an insight. I just really want to report that anyone I can speak to in the locker room is saying that when they see Big E, he's happy. He's happy. So, maybe a silly little report, but it's one I care about. Venom, again, this gets asked every stream. Yes, Indy Hartwell is still injured. Dylan says hi. Hello, Dylan. Camo Gods, that was the second to last piece of the injury update. Liv Morgan is up next. John says, I'm with you, Tom. I wonder where that rumour about Becky dethroning Rhea came from. That is on the agenda to discuss. No worries, Dylan. Welcome to the show. KJ says, is it possible they have the Money in the Bank cash in on a mid-card title? Yes. Will they? Probably not. Joey says, what was the what reason? What's that in reference to? Can you give me a heads up on that one, please? Venom, again, you ask that question all the time as well. You have to start listening to the answers to the questions that you ask. Right? I'm not going to repeat myself constantly. Azza says, hey Tom, who do you think will win the Royal Rumble? I think it's going to be Cody. I don't think it's going to be Cody Rhodes this time round. I think it's more likely to be someone like Solo. Razar says, is Charlotte returning soon? Depends what you mean by soon. Peach says, when Big E comes back, it will be a new day. Yes, it will. And Camo says, who was first? First was McIntyre, basically, of that list. Daniela says, last week on Raw they said Riddle will get a chance to qualify, but apparently the opponent is undisclosed. Would you know anything about this, Tom? Nope. I don't have the script for Raw. Sean says, could the Money in the Bank winner cash in on Carmelo Hayes? Yeah, they won't, but yeah. Okay. Liv Morgan, otherwise known as Daddy, otherwise known as Young Saliva. She is also one of those making appearances on Up, Up, Down, Down. She is regaining a lot of mobility in her shoulder, and it doesn't seem as though it's going to be too long before she is back in the ring. From what I can tell, she'll be out for the summer, and after SummerSlam time, they will start to work with her for creative to come up with something new which she can benefit from. The idea was that she was going to be pushed quite strong. She was going to be a challenger for Rhea Ripley, potentially for SummerSlam. She was going to be competing against Ronda Rousey in a longer-term feud because Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan simply believe they can do better than they already did. That is now not happening. We may see a return to her work with Ronda Rousey. As I've said, Ronda Rousey wants to do the work with Liv Morgan, but Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley is unlikely to happen at least until next year after WrestleMania at this point. Hector says, I still don't know why or who actually started the Bray going back to the Fiend character because it makes no sense. Bray's going to sell merch no matter what his character is, so him being the Fiend benefits no one. Yeah, I still have not seen anything to actually confirm that there was any actual rumour of the Fiend returning. As far as I can tell, that was never going to be the case. Dylan says, do you think Jay versus Roman might happen at SummerSlam? Yes. Yes, I do. Venom says, why was Corbin sent to NXT? It obviously has no chance against Melo. To work with the people down there, to help them develop, and to occupy him while I come up with something new for him. Spiderboss says, I think the winner of the men's Money in the Bank could cash in on Seth Rollins. Yep, they could. They could cash in on anyone. Venom says, do you think Wesley will win the NXT title? Nope. Vegeta. I see that you guys are having a conversation. I'm just going to really cut through all of it and make it really clear here. Vince McMahon is in charge of financial decisions and has been since WrestleMania. Nick Khan, before WrestleMania, was in charge of financial decisions. Since WrestleMania, he has not been. Nick Khan did tighten the purse strings on Triple H. I've mentioned this previously. There is not a hiring freeze. There is not a hiring freeze. Cool? Cool. FDR thinks Liv Morgan for Royal Rumble 2024, which I think would actually be a pretty good shout. And Play X Payne says, do you think Liv could dethrone Rhea? Not if she faces her before next year's WrestleMania. If she faces her after next year's WrestleMania, I think it's a distinct possibility after next year's WrestleMania. Nothing on Tama Tonga at this point, Nelson, though I will be talking a little bit of New Japan shortly. Dylan, if you pop back to the beginning, I explain everything in the first couple of minutes, all about what happened with the WWE Championship and when we'll start hearing about the WWE Championship again. Daniela says, when the Smackdown tag titles are eventually on Smackdown, who do you think would be a worthy team for the titles? There are plenty of options for them. I will be posting a number of videos over the next few days to YouTube. My plan essentially is to take the news that I've reported here, turn it into videos of their own, 5-6 minutes with their own SEO, because ultimately, and to be blunt, these live shows are great for engagement, great for growing the channel. They do not make me a lot of money. Whereas if I post them as videos, views go further and the channel continues to grow because people are more likely to be watching videos than willing to watch a live, which I get. So I have a number of things I'm going to be covering. A little bit on Drew McIntyre, clarifying what I've said there about the intentions and a little further. A little something on Bray Wyatt and the plans for him going forwards, particularly things that I've already said that you guys are aware of. Shelved plans for Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks and Liv Morgan. I've just clarified quite a bit on Liv Morgan for that one there as well. And something on what went wrong with Cody. Thank you very very much Mustang, for coming over from Megan's stream and following on the Twitch side. Thank you very much. Ooh. Sorry guys, just catching up. James, I am going to All In at Wembley. Joey says, do you know what the plan is for Cody going into Money in the Bank? Brock is a plan for Cody going into Money in the Bank. I reported this previously and it's been confirmed by the Wrestling Observer, but I'll have more details on that shortly. Hector says, do you see having current main roster wrestlers go down to NXT to end pay-per-views is going to be the formula going forwards instead of debuting signings? Nope, it's a temporary situation. Spiderball says, what's next for Judgment Day? Seth. Sean says, I talked to someone who was at Raw last week. They said there were crickets when Ronda and Shayna won the tag. That's not good. Also, there weren't boos. Joey is reporting that we're getting lag on the stream. Is anyone else getting lag on the stream? Please let me know if that's the case. In fact, yeah, a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people getting lag right now. I do apologise. Not sure what's going on there. But hopefully we're able to persevere. Razar says the people who get scripts for Raw and SmackDown haven't been getting them lately. Is WWE trying to be more secretive and stop the leaks? WWE have been trying to stop the leaks for a very long time. It's not been the most successful scenario in the world. Not been the most successful, but fingers crossed, they're able to work out something that works for everybody. A lot of people pay for those leaks. Eve says, YouTube have apparently dropped interest in long form and live video in favour of short form and short. And you are correct. I absolutely agree with that. The attention to live streams, which essentially launched this channel, is not as strong as it used to be. Simply not as strong as it used to be. Shorts are the way forwards at this point in time, which is of course why I'm putting a lot of attention into shorts. No, Daniela, no big news on Austin Theory's title reign. I've already spoken about what I expect to see going forwards. No, Vegeta, Vince is in charge of financial decisions. He does not identify hirings. He's in charge of financial decisions, but Triple H, by and large, identifies who comes in and who they want, and Vince McMahon decides whether or not they're going to actually officially make it happen. So I wouldn't come in and say Vince McMahon's in charge of everything, because he simply doesn't have time to do so. Cheers, Mustang, I appreciate that. Okay, so yes, we did have quite a bit of lag. Hopefully things are better now. Thanks, guys, for keeping an eye on that and giving me the heads up. Appreciate that. Richard says, now that Ronda and Shayna have the tag titles, will there be a focus put on the tag division? There already has been since WrestleMania. The tag team titles or the tag team champions have been on pretty much every show. So yeah, lots of lag it seems. BM says, I still like the live streams. I have no intention of dropping the live streams. No intention of dropping the live streams at all. Spiderboss says, I know they're different, but Tiffany from NXT gives me Charlotte Flair vibes. Well, they are completely separate people, yes. Joey says, who do you think Bray's first feud will be with when he's back? It depends which brand he's on. I think someone the caliber of Karrion Kross is the most likely scenario. BM says, is Vince only being kept on until Endeavour feel ready and used to it, at which point he can be let go? No. Sean says, Mustafa Ali will make his NXT debut this week against Joe Gacy. FDR says, seems YouTube is very keen on competing with TikTok. Yes, primarily because they believe that they have beaten Twitch, and I can't argue with that. Hogan says it's weird that YouTube would deprioritize long-form live while simultaneously trying to entice people from Twitch to YouTube. Simultaneously is a bit of a stretch, because by and large, they've already poached the ones that they want. That's where we are with that one. They've already poached most of the big names that they're looking for. They believe that Twitch is in the rear view mirror, and that is my understanding at least. Venom, we're about 4 years off full time, and there will never be spoiler warnings every day. There isn't that much news. Daniel, yes, we're leading. What does that mean? Razar says, is Vince the one who decides how much talent get paid then? Yes and no. Vince has to do the final sign-off, but he doesn't do the negotiations. Play says, any idea if Zelina Vega is going to get a push anytime soon? She is going to get, a continuation of the push that she's already getting. She had a pay-per-view match for the Smackdown Women's Championship. She's also in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and she's being pushed alongside Rey Mysterio. This is a push. Not every push is straight to becoming the actual champion. James says, cheers for clearing up RE WWE Universal title. I was curious, and Christ know what the others were going on at you for. Yeah, appreciate that, mate. I'm not entirely sure what was going on with Trolls, but I invited them to come talk to me here. You'll note that none of them came. Joey says, I wonder what Edge will do at SummerSlam. Doesn't look like he has a clear opponent. True. Yes, Dark Society, Vince McMahon is making changes remotely. I reported that right after WrestleMania. Spider-Boss says, recently Shayna shut down the rumour of Ronda demanding the women's tag team titles. Shayna stated Ronda only asked to work with her. Yes, that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Ronda Rousey requested to work with Shayna Baszler when Ronda Rousey returned. Hello, Sat. I'm well. How are you? A bit of news you've missed so far, Jermaine, about the WWE Championship situation, the rebranding of Women's Championships, new or old Tag Team Championships, Drew McIntyre returning, Randy Orton, Big E, Liv Morgan, and I spoke a little bit about videos that I'm going to be launching over the next few days. Thomas, I will be getting onto that. I can't actually say shortly because there's so much to cover, but plenty to go. Yes, Sat, I've got everything I could possibly need. If you're here to pitch and advertise, you're in the wrong place. Daniel, I'm not sure on that one, but very possibly. Daniela says SmackDown is a good men's single roster, but they aren't making the most of it. No Lashley and Edge. People are entitled to a break every now and then. I wouldn't say, Vegeta, I wouldn't say Zelina is kind of getting pushed. She's getting pushed. Venom says, do you think Ali could beat Wet? Okay, moving on. Peter says, I may have to turn the shot off soon as the same questions are asked again and again. Love you though, Tom. Appreciate that, Peter. I appreciate that. I am seeing a lot of the same questions, and eventually that's going to be a problem. So if I see the same question asked too many times, Ed's going to have to kick in on this one. But at the same time, if I'm not able to answer it because I have so much to cover, I can't blame people. So Peter, I respect your choice if that's the choice that you make. Places, I don't know if this has already been asked. I know I was late in the stream, but do you know Rhea's next challenger? I don't know Rhea's next challenger at this point in time. I don't believe she will be defending the championship at Money in the Bank. Appreciate that, Sat. Spider-Boss says, does WWE have any plans for Raquel Rodriguez? Yes. Cody Rhodes is currently in a very different situation than a lot of people were expecting him to be in. Just before we dive on this, we currently have 49 likes and 66 viewers. So if you're able to, please do remember to hit the like button. It does guarantee the growth of this channel, and I would very much appreciate it. We are continuing to grow on subscribers. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing. We're currently on 2,451. Wiggly, nobody could possibly answer that question. Vegeta says, any word on if Maxine Dupree will face Valhalla? Seems to be leaning that way, but also kind of doesn't. Maxine Dupree is in training to make her in-ring main roster debut. However, much like with Scarlett, they don't have any storyline plan for that at this point in time. Dylan, I spoke about Roman versus Solo on Friday's show. At some point in the future is forever, so yes. Your most recent one, Wiggly. Joey says, I wonder what plans Triple H had for Cody before Vince changed it. Vince did not change it. The plans that resulted in Cody Rhodes main eventing WrestleMania against Roman Reigns were Vince McMahon's plans. The plans that resulted in Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania, that was Triple H. Triple H changed the plans for Cody. Vince McMahon wrote the plan for Cody to go to WrestleMania winning the Royal Rumble. Triple H decided to finish. Being very clear on that one. Sean says, do you think Jamie Hayter wins back the belt from Tony Storm at All In? No. Rodney, welcome, says, any news on new members on Judgment Day? Nope. He says, I think a number of people don't seem to understand the point you made earlier, which is a push doesn't mean a championship. Very true. Solo Sikoa is not currently a champion in any way, shape or form. I don't think you can honestly say with any semblance of integrity that he's gone unpushed. Eric, I've literally just answered that question, as in Maxine Dupree. Literally just answered it. Cody Rhodes is currently undergoing a real change to the storyline that he would have been expecting going into WrestleMania, and now it's one of those that we can lay out a bit more clearly. There are rumours of Cody versus Gunther at WrestleMania, suggesting that one of them will be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and I've mentioned previously I expect that if that's the case, Gunther will be the World Heavyweight Champion. Gunther versus Cody is very much on the docket and could be a non-title match for WrestleMania, but the two of them are definitely a match that Triple H wants to put on. Cody Rhodes does not look likely to be finishing the story with Roman Reigns, particularly given the situation with the current WWE Championship. Cody versus Brock essentially is going this long to give the WWE time to write something new for Cody Rhodes. Brock Lesnar, after SummerSlam, will be taking a little time away, as he has done previously. Okay, Joey, gotcha. Yeah, that's Triple H, all the way. Kashan says, Tom, the new WWE belt was a waste of time. That waste of time got 2.7 million viewers, so no, it was not. And Play really wants the Lena to win Money in the Bank this year, but doesn't think that is going to happen. Wiggly says, why did WWE go cold on Cody, ending the story with Roman? To my knowledge, under Triple H, there was never a plan for Cody to beat Roman Reigns. So you can't go cold on something you never intend to do. LA Knight is rumoured to be a favourite to win Money in the Bank. That is not something I've personally heard, but when you look at the field of people currently competing, I certainly think he is someone who could be up there. That said, it would be a very, very disappointing moment for LA Knight fans if LA Knight wins the Money in the Bank, because there are no plans for LA Knight to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. To my knowledge, if he does pick up the win, it will be a case of helping him develop and getting the name brand bigger. But at the moment, plans for the World Heavyweight and WWE Undisputed Universal Championships do not involve briefcases, at least until WrestleMania. The phrase do not involve briefcases is one I really wanted to hit the nail on the head for. Wiggly, in no way have I just said that Triple H didn't think Cody was worthy. That I don't know how you've got there, because that is not even close to what I said. Hello, Gordy mate. Says, what's up, Tom? Pretty newsworthy spoiler warning you got today. Indeed, I had 20 talking points. I'm still less than halfway through, and we're 45 minutes in. Crazy show, crazy show. Adam says, any update? What will be the long-term plan for Triple H's CCO? Will Vince eventually take over, or is he fond of Triple H's work? There is absolutely no need for Triple H to take over the chief content officer role from Triple H, because everything that Triple H creates is ticked off and signed off by Vince McMahon. So he doesn't need to be in charge of creative when he already is. Spider-Boss says, it's funny many fans on social media blamed Vince because of Cody losing at WrestleMania. People on social media certainly forgot Triple H booked the shows. It's hard to say exactly who does what at this point. They're both involved, and Vince McMahon was involved in booking for WrestleMania. The Forbidden Door. AEW and New Japan's flagship joint event. Forbidden Door, after this weekend, certainly has a flagship match to talk about. I've spoken previously about offers being made for Mercedes to wrestle at Forbidden Door. The idea being, certainly one of the possibilities that I've been speaking about a lot, would have been Mercedes Moné versus Jade Cargill. Now, at this point, we need to talk about Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, as I should be calling him, his time in AEW, versus Kazuchika Okada, or in many ways, Okada Kazuchika, as I should be calling him, as is his traditional language. Many of you are not aware of Kazuchika Okada. Can I just highly recommend that you check this match? Highly recommend that you check this match out. Forbidden Door for me has become a guaranteed watch on that match alone. I'm upset that Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson isn't happening, because that would actually be the greatest wrestling match of all time. But we still got good. You know? We still got good. And speaking of New Japan, if you are a New Japan fan, you will have noticed during Dominion this weekend, we saw a rebirth of the Bullet Club, with only really 2 members remaining of the previous involvement. Kenta being one, David Finlay being the other. El Fantasmo has been separated from the group pretty firmly at the end of that one, and the Bullet Club is simply not what it was under Jay White, under AJ Styles, under Kenny Omega, and certainly not under Finn Balor or Prince Devitt as he was at the time. The Bullet Club now is in many ways secondary to United Empire anyway. Will Ospreay is simply a bigger name than Dave Finlay, but we'll see how that goes long term. Hogan says there likely won't be a CCO role after the merger is finalised anyway. I don't think Vince is going to be the chairman of the board and an executive VP, which would likely be Triple H's new role. Triple H's new role, whatever it may be, will still involve creative. There may be some development of the role, but there will always be someone in charge of creative in the WWE. Sean points out that The Miz has had 19 matches so far in 2023 and has lost all 19 of them. That's his job now. That is very much his job now. Richard Smith's excited for Bryan versus Okada. Spider-Boss wants to see Mercedes versus Willow. You are not going to be seeing that. Richard says Okada is amazing. Thomas says, I think I speak for everyone who has watched New Japan that Okada is the greatest wrestler of his generation. Spider-Boss says, when we could see Jay White competing for championships in AEW, as soon as he is booked to compete for them. There will be a little bit on Jay White. Now, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho is something that Collision has been built around, and Chris Jericho has been advocating for CM Punk backstage under instruction, apparently, from Tony Khan. This is not necessarily now going to result in an immediate feud, with CM Punk versus Chris Jericho likely to be a pay-per-view feud in the near future, but not the immediate feud. Jay White has stepped into that breach. Jay White versus CM Punk seems like the feud they're going to be starting out with, and I think that's quite a shame for Jay White, because I don't think he's likely to be picking up a win for that. That said, there are talks happening about, if there's going to be a brand split, introducing an additional championship that CM Punk can compete for. So he'll be starting out essentially at the very, very top of the ladder on Collision. Very top of the ladder. Cool. Play says, I wonder if they'll ever introduce a women's mid-card title in WWE. Forever. It's a very long time. Moxie says, Tom, what did you think about Smackdown last Friday? Quite enjoyed it. Thought it was nice. The last segment really turned it over the, tipped it over the edge for me. Real lack of women's wrestling. Again. Vegeta agrees Okada is great. Best of his generation in Japan. Easy. Dad says, do we know Kenny is facing a Forbidden Door, or will it be Elite versus someone? Personally, I kind of think it'll be Ospreay. Venom says, do you think William Regal could go back to being on-screen manager for NXT? One day, yes. Adam says, according to Fight fans, WWE was upset about the current storyline Bray Wyatt was in. Reported WWE was pushing for The Fiend but was shot down by Bray Wyatt's mask maker. Any thoughts? A mask maker would not stop WWE booking storylines. Like, do you see Vince allowing that to happen? Do you see Triple H allowing that to happen? I ain't seen that happening. Like, really? Eve says, and I feel this captures everyone's mood quite often in both WWE, AEW, and in fact New Japan. Yay, more titles. I keep forgetting there are 6-man championships. Like, they were in a match. The champions are in a match. Okada is one of them. But I keep forgetting. Thomas says, do you think we will ever see a Seth Rollins versus Will Ospreay match? I actually do not. But I kind of hope we would. Dark Society says, who's more over, Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins. At least for now. I spoke about it earlier. I need to speak about it in future, as it were. I need to speak about it at some length now. SummerStream. SummerSlam is incoming, and for quite a while now, there has been... Pardon me, I need to have a quick sip of my drink. For quite a while now, many of you have been asking about extended streams, marathon streams, charity streams. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to go about that, but I'm going to start looking, because with SummerSlam incoming and me essentially having a little time now, I want to do a marathon stream that ends with SummerSlam. So I would do some sort of pre-SummerSlam event, then the SummerSlam watch party, then a SummerSlam wrap-up. And I'm looking at a 10 to 12 hour marathon charity stream. I want to try and set it up with any sort of wrestling charity that there is. Eve, I may reach out to you as someone a bit more connected for this. I know that, for example, Piper Niven was hosting a charity at some point moderately recently that I could potentially work with that's at least wrestling based. So I'll see what the options are and try and do some research as to how YouTube and Twitch work in that environment. With this in mind, are people interested in the idea of a summer stream, where I do a marathon stream around SummerSlam time, including a SummerSlam watch party? Yeah, you can recommend a charity, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go for it weekly. You can by all means recommend, I'll do my research on it, in which we try and raise some money for a charity that's doing good work that we can all try and agree on and try and get that over the line. Aiming for 10 to 12 hours. The most I've done on stream before is 10 and a half hours. Which was, if you guys remember, The Last of Us full playthrough, which I was expecting to take 15 hours and did not. And did not. Richard says, any word on NXT Europe? No. Vegeta says, trio titles in WWE would be interesting. I don't think it would. I really don't. They struggle enough to get tag teams on the roster. There's absolutely no need for trios titles when you can't even book your tag teams on TV consistently. Daniel says Jay White and Juice look like they're going for now into a feud of FTR. Punk may join them in the future. Then Bullet Club Gold. Will I remember Bullet Club Gold? Venom says, what are they planning to do with the NXT Women's Tag titles? I've discussed it at some length. Patrick says, my birthday today. Happy birthday, Patrick. Welcome, man. And happy birthday to you. Eve said, did one for Rain on IWD. They're already a YouTube partner, so they handled all the finances from the super chats and ad revenue, etc. Interesting. Okay, that's helpful and a good start. Thank you. Thomas says, I'd love to see a New Japan invasion of Money in the Bank. That will not be happening. We've talked about this at length, Thomas. You know what I want, but it's not going to happen. Joey says, was the plan for Cody to never finish the story with Roman? Depends on what you mean by never. Like, it was changed when Vince McMahon stepped out. Dark Society says, ladies and gentlemen, we are live at SummerStream. Your host, Tom Colohue. We have a jam-packed show tonight. I figured I'd give it a shot. Absolutely. Keyshawn, I have no idea who goes over, and honestly, I could not care less. Spiderboss says, could we see intergender matches in WWE? No. Silent Playthrough says, I just wish WWE would allow one-off appearances from other promotions. I'd love Rollins versus Ospreay. You are not alone, Silent Playthroughs. I've been looking for that one for a very long time. You want to talk Forbidden Door, which is AEW branding, that would be the match. The issue is it does not benefit WWE in any way, shape or form. It does not benefit AEW in any way. WWE superstars are returning to Twitch. The WWE has made a deal with Twitch directly, and this is one of many ways in which Twitch is planning to try and counter the effects of YouTube essentially giving them a big squash. Twitch is not competing particularly strongly with YouTube at this point in time. What they need is high quality, reliable content. So the WWE working with Twitch as exclusively as they possibly can get them is a huge step forwards for the actual WWE and for Twitch itself. It does mean that WWE superstars such as Dakota Kai, who recently returned to Twitch, will be not only permitted but encouraged to use the platform. Zelina Vega has also returned recently. Up, down, down content. A lot of live streams will be added to Twitch, and also there is talk of The Party coming under the WWE umbrella as well. That is an attempt, nothing confirmed as of yet. The Hitman has joined us, says, did you already touch on Randy Orton? I did. I want to say go back to 15 minutes in. I think 15 minutes in is around where we started talking about Randy Orton. Apologies that there's just a lot I've been talking about at this point, so I'm not 100%, but Hitman, if you drop back the stream and rewind it to about 15 minutes in, you'll know it's between Drew McIntyre and Big E that I talk about it. A lot of news at the start there. A lot of news. And thank you very much. Thank you very, very kindly for becoming a subscriber. Thomas, don't be unfair. Mean. No, Daniel, how dare you? How dare you? There'll be no falling asleep here. Keyshawn, I've already touched on LA Knight and Money in the Bank. Silent Playthrough says, does this mean WWE will now take a cut from the streamers' sub-revenue? Quite possibly, yes. That is likely to be part of the deal going forwards, that the WWE essentially create and provides a platform, and the wrestlers in question, or the people, I should say, in question, will be offering something back to the WWE for use of their own name and WWE branding. KJ says WWE won't allow one-off for guys from other companies because it doesn't benefit WWE, which is absolutely correct. LF says, hey Tom, IMDb says Roman and Malachi Black will be starring in a live-action Force film together, part of the G.I. Joe universe. Cool. I've never been a G.I. Joe guy. Live in the UK. Spider-Boss says, what's your favourite Eddie Guerrero match? The one against Brock Lesnar. Heartstrings. There was also a very good a very good triple threat tag match involving the Smackdown 6. Barry says, in these more enlightened times, every wrestler should have a title so they all know they are special. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar 3 has been reported by the Wrestling Observer as happening at SummerSlam. For those who weren't aware, 2 weeks ago, it was also reported to be happening at SummerSlam right here by Tom Colohue. The Money in the Bank ladder match is likely to feature Cody Rhodes in some way, shape or form. However, Brock Lesnar, if he is in that match, will be getting involved, setting a stage for one final match between the two. Brian Alvarez is speculating that there will be a big stipulation and that Cody Rhodes has asked for I believe it was a dog collar match. We may see a good old-fashioned strap match, or we may see a good old-fashioned submission match, I feel would be the best option for Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Silence says, I wonder if that now means Ronda would have to stream on Twitch instead of Facebook. It does not. Ronda Rousey has a completely separate and individual contract that the WWE cannot touch. I've spoken about this previously because it's caused some issues with management backstage. But she is essentially untouchable and can do whatever the hell she wants. 3 stages of hell would be very good. I like that as an idea. Keith Jones says, how do you believe Cody will get back into the title picture? By challenging whoever the World Heavyweight Champion is at the time. Joey, I believe most of the qualifiers have been announced now. I'll wait and see what happens there. I don't have the script, so I'm not sure. Moxie wants Gunter versus Will Ospreay. You never know. It might already be out there. Lauren, good night. Welcome. Yeah, I put some emphasis on your name. Says, hi Tom, since Logan Paul is on Twitch, are there discussions to have WWE talent on the shows he does? Not that I'm aware of, but I can't imagine they won't be doing that given the platform that he has. Sean says, do you see Cody as Intercontinental or US Champion? Yes. Moxie says, if I was WWE, I would do Brock versus Cody in an I Quit match. Essentially that replaces a submission match, so I could see that, yes. I could see that. I saw via Daily DDT, who I used to work with back in the day, them reporting that WWE needs to move on from the horsewomen and embrace the new generation. This was apparently launched and made a thing by rumours that Becky Lynch was going to be beating Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I have several questions here. Firstly, where on earth did these rumours come from? Because I haven't heard anything about that personally. Is it just fan speculation? In which case, call it fan speculation. Secondly, are you not watching the product? Because the Four Horsewomen have been out of the title picture now more than they've ever been. One of them doesn't even work for the company anymore. One of them is working with and putting over developing talent, such as Damage Control, her faction, and one of them has been on hiatus for all but 4 months over the last year. I'm just curious about the seemingly imaginary rumours about Becky Lynch. This feels a lot like when you see people reporting that when Charlotte Flair comes back, she's going to immediately win the championship. What's the opposite of wishful thinking? Because I feel like we're seeing a lot of that. Venom, if Johnny's that important to you, I suggest that you take a break from watching wrestling. Thomas says, I'm sorry, Tom, but it would be just as good, just so good, you could have Asuka versus Kairi Sane, Gunter versus Minoru Suzuki. I think Minoru Suzuki is essentially winding down now. Give me Gunter versus Shingo Takagi. Adam says, according to PWInsider, AJ at Raw last week was Vince McMahon's call. Is this report true? I cannot confirm one way or the other. I don't know. I don't doubt what they've reported. D. Freeman says, have you thought about going to Kick? What's Kick? To kick someone? Vito says, if Cody transfers to Smackdown, do you think we'll get a Theory versus Cody program, the American Nightmare for US title, or is that a stretch? I don't think that's a stretch. I don't see him moving to Smackdown. Rizal says, why don't they just do Cody versus Gunter for the IC title and break the record-breaking run by Gunter at WrestleMania, or do they feel like Cody is too big of a deal? There is no reason they can't do that. After all, WrestleMania might be an IC championship match. Oh, I'm not a young person. Also, if it's a new streaming service, it will have a smaller amount of overall viewership, so I will undoubtedly struggle to get views. I've thought more about going live on TikTok. Hogan says, we need to move on from 31-year-old Sasha Banks and move towards 34-year-old Bianca Belair, says the person making things up about age. Play says, I feel like the new face of the women's division is Bianca, Rhea, Liv, Raquel, Io, Dakota, and possibly Zelina, which I agree with you. Keyshawn says, do you see Grayson Waller being a big player in SmackDown? Right now, no, but none of the new call-ups will be. Rizal says, I think the Becky beating Rhea rumour started because people were looking at the current roster and saying there was no one to beat Rhea and said Becky's the only believable one, and it got twisted. JJ says, hey Tom, do you know what's going on with Becky going to Hollywood? Did she not want to do it? Well, she's wrestling at the moment, and from what I can tell, she's pretty happy with that. Lauren says, Kick is a far-right streaming service. Then I ain't touching it. Yeah, if everyone's seemingly going there, that means more people can watch on YouTube because there'll be less competition. Suits me just fine. Bailey says, how is Ronda viewed by people backstage? Big question. Some people love her. Some people don't like her as much. That can also be said of pretty much everyone. Pretty much everyone. SmackDown is trending up at current, with the highest viewership of the year this Friday. This is bigger than the one after WrestleMania, largely built around the Usos finally turning on Roman and wanting to see what was going to be happening as a result. 2.7 million plus viewers tuned in to watch the segment in which Solo Sikoa spiked Jimmy Uso. The bloodline continues to be a proven strong draw for the WWE, and right now they do not intend to wrap that up anytime soon. The bloodline will continue for a while longer because they continue to get huge numbers. Meanwhile, negotiations with Fox are going to be starting very shortly around new streaming deal and a new TV deal to result in more attention. Thank you, Ed. 2.9 in the quarter over the final quarter hour according to Brandon Thurston, who when it comes to numbers is your guy. Thank you kindly. So the deal with Fox will be coming up shortly. The WWE's negotiation will start and will largely be helmed by Vince McMahon himself. I am very confident that Fox will be maintaining the WWE deal because it's been hugely beneficial for everyone involved. Brayster, you're alright, mate. Says, hey Tom, thanks for reading out my question on last week's Nick and Tom's. No worries, mate. Thanks for sending them in. For those who don't know, we do mailbox versions of Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure on the PWTorch Dailycast every so often. We usually do them live here and record them. So if you are a fan of Nick and Tom's, by all means stick around here or check out PWTorch where we are, well, we're not live, but our show goes live every Saturday. Bracer says, what do you think LA Knight's ceiling is with his current character? I think, unfortunately, he's not one of the younger wrestlers in the company, so Triple H is unlikely to push him much harder than he has done in the past for, let's say, a Robert Roode. That said, when you're over, you're over. So keep cheering. And my word, never stop. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you'd asked something additional there, Bailey. Ronda will stay on her own platforms because contractually she is limited to her own platforms, but she can do whatever she wants with her platforms. Venom says, I'm wanting to see if Jay will fall in line or stand with his brother. He'll stand with his brother. Adam says, do you at least know somewhat what Bray Wyatt's new gimmick will be? I've already given you every information that I possibly can about Bray Wyatt. Short of taking shots in the dark, I've given you not only more than I feel anyone else has, but I feel I've given you more than anyone else can. Keyshawn says, do you see Roman eventually adding new members to the bloodline? Maybe, probably not. Brayster has renewed his channel membership for his 6th month. Says, we love your content, Tom. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Brayster. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The Nicky's right again. Razar says, Twitch has been losing a lot of their big streamers to Kick, who's offering them more money. Apparently Kick has not as many rules and people can say messed up things on there. That makes me even less likely to go over. If anything, it kind of makes me think that maybe I should be dropping Twitch altogether and just focusing on YouTube. No worries, Horsey. Got you, mate. Braced dropping tables as well. Dylan says, is the WWE Network still going to be available in the deal with Fox? The deal with Fox has no impact whatsoever on the WWE Network. The WWE Network is connected to the Peacock deal. Thomas says, what have I done, Tom? I've got myself hyped for a New Japan WWE show. Now, why did I do that? Brayster says, any more video game streams coming? Really enjoyed The Last of Us. Thank you, May. I simply don't have time, unfortunately. I'm hoping to. What I will say, before this year is over, I will have gaming content ready. A gaming channel is going to be launched at the beginning of 2024. That's the plan. That may be of interest for you. I've technically already created it. Colohue Gaming is out there. If you're interested in subscribing now, you probably already have if you watch The Last of Us streams. But if you are interested in the gaming side, I will be launching more gaming content on Colohue Gaming at the beginning of next year. Sean says, I see only one member of Damage Control in the Money in the Bank match, and that member isn't Bailey. Hogan says, here is the first of my 237 obligatory Bray questions. Is Bray? We're going to go through the whole why is Gamora thing, aren't we? Ed says, there's only so many annoying people to add, most contracted to MLW currently, and I don't think he's going to trust Sami Zayn again. Venom says, do you think Ronda and Shane will feud and have a match? Is that something they want? Not right now. Thank you, Brayster. Appreciate that. Koo says, according to Better Wrestling Experience, so Boozer, working a dog collar match as part of the program was rejected by either Rhodes or Lesnar. Have you heard anything on this? I've heard Dave Meltzer report that. I've heard Brian Alvarez report that. Joey says, what are your Money in the Bank card predictions? That will be a video that goes live in the next few days. But I'm going to ITB card, because why not? Brayster, thank you kindly for that. Brayster has gifted a channel membership. It's gone directly to Ed, which no one is more deserving. Ed, you are of course a legend in this field, and you are the first person to ever subscribe on Twitch, the first channel member to ever be a part of this YouTube. Thank you, Brayster, for your generosity there as well. Play says, I'm curious to see what they do with Ronda and Shayna's reign. Who will they challenge next? Thomas says, I feel like we need to rebook our New Japan WWE card now, especially after Jay White left. That makes me sad, and you are correct. Moxie, that would be terrifying. Also, merch. Yeah, Sai did some designs for me. I'm sorry, I forgot. I forgot in all the whirl of Paris. Merch is incoming. It'll be ready by SummerSlam. While we're talking about Ed Fries, by the way, for those who don't know, Ed has a Twitch channel. He is likely to be going live after a Raw watch-along from Olay this week, and in fact, possibly tonight. If you're a fan of Marvel Snap, you may want to check that out. So pop over to Twitch and go to Ed Fry's channel, because he's currently on 50 followers, creeping up on affiliate status, and I can't think of anyone more deserving. Spiderboss says, could we see Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor at Money in the Bank? I do believe that's a likely situation. Yes. Books Welcome says, seen Spider-Verse? Yes. Spider-Verse 1? Yes. Spider-Verse 2? No. Says, Tom, do you think the plan is for Asuka and Io at SummerSlam, or will he do that later down the line? I know it's coming. I did mention it was coming on Friday's show before, of course, what happened on Smackdown. Razar says, Cody seems like he's trying to bring back bloody brutal matches. I really hope they don't leave that gross stuff to AEW. WWE should not go back to blood, in my opinion. Cody may have something to say about that. Braster says, I know we can't do Raw post-show, but maybe Smackdown. I'll be petitioning Wade. You go right ahead. You go right ahead. Eve says, you need to see the new Spider-Verse film. I'm not even a Spider-Man fan. It's top tier, a real work of art. I have always said that about the first one. I absolutely loved the first Into the Spider-Verse. I promise you, I'm going to get to it. It's just a case of family commitments, and I do technically work 2 jobs. I'm sure you know, I'm sure you know that how much work goes into things like this. But yeah, I take your recommendation. Absolutely run with it. I have every intention. Yes, Sean, I saw the translation. They can get away with it because they're not speaking English. Ooh, Bailey says, when you discussed Twitch, I popped over to Dakota Kai's page. She has a level 12 hype train going now, so it's a big success. Fantastic news. Absolutely fantastic news. Big fan of Dakota Kai, for anyone who doesn't know. Spiderball says, when Ronda and Shayna won their women's tag team titles, I remembered I saw first on Spoiler Warning. We try our best on Spoiler Warning. Clearly, I in no way do I have the best sources out there. There are plenty of people much better connected than me. But what I do have, I stand by, and I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to achieve here in just ensuring that what we report is accurate and factual. KJ says, Boozer isn't even that good. Made a whole list of Money in the Bank participants and has only gotten 1 in LA Knight. He said Cody, Edge, Dom, Gable and others. He also says it being discussed, so he can't be wrong. I do need to touch on this. There is a lot of Twitter accounts that have suddenly popped up out of nowhere who all report non-reports. You don't see their face, you don't see their name, so there's no accountability, and they report that something might happen, but also that it might not happen. So what they're doing is claiming credit for a report that they didn't report, or avoiding blame for a report that they absolutely reported. No idea. Oh, cheers, Andy. Says, just want to say hi. I'm going to watch from the beginning. Lovely. Lots of people excited for Spider-Verse. Buck says, Money in the Bank cash-ins need to fail, especially the women this year. LA Knight, I'd love if he wins and takes it. Buck says, make sure to stay away from spoilers because this movie needs to go in with no spoilers. Plenty of people absolutely showing the love for Spider-Verse at this point in time. There is one last thing I want to touch on, and that is largely a bit on content creation. If you are a content creator, you may enjoy this. For those who follow my TikTok, tiktok.com/@Tom Colohue, by the way, for anyone who doesn't already, you may have seen that I have a favourite troll at the minute, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, genuine. I think even said troll is starting to enjoy it now. So there is someone who pops up in the comments all the time, claiming to be 1/4 of my views. They're about 100th of my views. And stating that they are engaging and basically they're the only reason people are still seeing the video and stuff. Now, obviously that's not true, but it's also not entirely untrue. Because as you guys know, as I've explained quite a few times, engagement feeds everything. So, as regards YouTube shows, the fact that we had more than 20 people here before we went live was huge. Really helped to kick this show into gear, really helped to launch the show, and is a large part of the reason we've gained 4 subscribers from this show. That momentum will go through into my shorts over the course of the next week, into the videos, that I'm posting over the next few days. All of these things will come together, and engagement feeds that. Now that is also true on TikTok, where that one troll and the debate that I've been having, which in many ways is in good faith, we're not exactly going for the jugular, we're just insulting a little bit, but honestly kind of nicely is good practice, has genuinely resulted in videos with much higher view counts. In many ways, that engagement with one person, one of them added at least 100 views to that TikTok. This is also true on YouTube, as you know, but it's also true on Twitter. Now, if you can see the pinned comment on YouTube, you will see that it is a link to my Twitter, in which I post an announcement basically saying this show is going live and the big headlines of what we're going to discuss. You will know that there is a lot of views on that. Usually I average about 1,000 views per tweet. It's gone down a bit since Elon, but honestly I'm pretty happy overall with what we've got. That's gone much higher than that because of trolls. There are 2 pretty prominent trolls there who have been posting, tweeting. And, you know, trying to get under my skin. It turns out, in the current content creation stratosphere, feed the trolls. I hate to say it, because I hate that that's the world we live in. Feed the trolls. If we had trolls in here, let's say we got a hate raid. Let's say we got a full-on hate raid right now. You would all get to see me trying to convince them all to stay and attack me more, while also pressing the button that I've got, which puts ads on. So if they want to stay and hate more, just sit through the ad. Wait for your 5 seconds, click skip, go on, go off my jugular, hit me hard, go on, go ad. Give me hate raids. Give me anything. This, of course, is why bad faith arguments expand as quickly as they do, and it's why people such as recently accused Give Me Sport contributors, for example, become really big names. Now, I don't really like engaging with trolls too much, but hey, if they engage with me first, I'll fight back. Feed the trolls is a thing now. This is the world we live in. But hey, if it's the world we live in, then I'm certainly going to keep up. Joey says this is a long stream today, and you are absolutely correct. We will be wrapping up shortly. Wiggly, it seems, wants to be heading off to sleep. Have a good night, mate. Thank you for joining us. Hogan says going to start posting gifs of wrestlers with no context and retweet them when something happens, and claim that I knew the whole time you'd be far from the first. Don't forget, whatever you do, never commit to knowing anything. Thomas says, do you think that there will be any surprise returns or debuts at Money in the Bank? I do not. Joey says, is Lewis Dangor standing these trolls? Some of the trolls you guys will be familiar with, to be fair. And Gomar says, hello Tom, hope you're having a good one. Welcome Gomar, and thank you kindly. The news present in this show has been the temporary retirement of the WWE Championship record, the rebranding of the Women's Championships, whether or not we're going to get new Tag Team Championships or a diversion on the new and old ones, the return and potential plans for Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton status, Big E status, Liv Morgan's status, a little discussion about the videos that will be going live on this YouTube channel over the next few days. I keep promising, I've got to start actually doing it, and finding the time for it this week is it. Cody Rhodes being pushed out of the way and into a brand new trajectory. LA Knight's chances of winning Money in the Bank, the Forbidden Door, and why I have to watch it now. The Bullet Club rebuild. CM Punk versus Jay White. Summer stream. Marathon SummerSlam stream for a charity that will still have to work some kinks out, but that's what I'm working on. Their Sai, I believe, will be very, very integral to it. Twitch return for the WWE. The plan for SummerSlam between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Imaginary Becky Lynch rumours. Smackdown's ratings trending up. Ed Fries and how great he is. And as it turns out, feed the trolls. Megan says, I can imagine you having a Poppins-esque song for this. Feed the trolls, revenue to me. Revenue, revenue, revenue to me. I love the idea. I love the idea. I need to write something like that. Megan, message me. Let's make that happen. And James Kemple says, does anyone else think Roman won't get pinned at Mania? If he's going to go, he's got to go on his back. Razar says he should post some of these scoops on Twitter and let the haters hate when you're proven right. Maybe you need to play the game too. I post what I post. I'll post them as videos and then post them on Twitter. Because ultimately, Twitter doesn't pay me. YouTube does. Ad revenue and all that jazz. Thomas, maybe I'll do a live stream for Forbidden Door. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. But what I will say is that some of my news reports are making it out there via other people who are claiming to have inside sources and are quoting my streams and my work word for word. Chris, if you're watching, I want to make this very, very clear. Pride cometh before a fall, and when you do not point out who your source is, you're the source. So if you keep taking things from people without crediting them for it, what's going to happen is that eventually one of those people is going to be either misinterpreted, misconstrued, or maybe they're intentionally going to lead you down a blind alley that's going to lead to a whole lot of embarrassment. Source your information, and you've got to stop hating anyone who questions you, because they're allowed to. People are allowed to doubt. People are allowed to ask for justification. I've earned this. I've earned this platform by sharing accurate news and by taking the hits if something does go wrong. That's the difference. At this point, we will be wrapping up. This has been a marathon spoiler warning, and I want to say a huge thanks to all of you. A huge thanks to all of you for joining us. Everyone who's hit like, everyone who's chatted, everyone who's been a part of what we have done here. You are the reason I do this, and you are the reason I keep doing this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and a quick thank you to FDR for renewing on a 7th month of membership, Callie a 3rd month of membership, Horsey for a very generous donation, Brayster for renewing membership, and indeed a gifted membership as well. To be clear, I do see Christoph saying thank you, Tom. That's not directed at him. Just to be clear to everyone, that's not directed at him. I just want to be very clear on that, because that juxtaposition was kind of awkward. I will be live again on Friday, and I will be posting videos throughout the week. Please do check them out. But until then, I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic. And I will see you all very, very soon.